Uh, After that, we're going to do some revision. Yep. Yep. Oh, okay. Everything's ready. Sorry to get you waiting. So firstly, we got to finish what we have left off from yesterday. Finish the topic sentences and the paragraph structure about how to write about social issues. And then we will do a little bit of revision on the cause and effects. And afterwards, we are going to do a grammar quiz, which is like 10 multiple choice questions on the cause and effects grammar item, which shouldn't be any difficult thing at all. And then finally, we will be doing the quiz, the second part, which will be a short reading comprehension. So that is what you are expected to finish today. So let's get back to the worksheet yesterday first. Okay. So we were on the example grade. So let's pick up from here. So according to a recent statistics report by the Social Worker Association, so you need to create an organization, create the name of an organization if you do not know one, and then put in some figures. So 20% of teenagers between the age of 12 and 17 who are always absent from school are also addicted to drugs or alcohol. So firstly, you remember you need to make it as real as possible. In the DSE, although it's an exam, although it's not real, but how you're going to impress the examiner, how you're going to impress the marker, make him feel like you really know what the stuff is. You try to write it like a real thing. So if you have read material like this before, it shouldn't be difficult for you to write something like this. So you need the organization's name. You put in the figures as much as possible. So who? So this is just dealing with who. So teenagers, yeah, I know teenagers. Which kind of teenagers? How many teenagers? So you got the numbers, 20%, and then you got the age of 12 to 17. Because I think you guys have been doing the IES in these few months, right? So you know that you have to make you have to narrow down. You have to narrow down the subjects in a survey. You have to narrow down the subjects so that when you are distributing questionnaires, the questions and the data itself would be more reliable. So usually in formal research, you have to narrow down a group of people, not just every teenager. Maybe you can limit to gender, to just boys or girls. You can limit to factors like the age, or you can limit to the educational background, whether they have finished, which form they have finished in secondary school, for example. And then one more criteria. So here is those who are always absent from school. So these people are found to be more inclined to addict to drugs or alcohol. So altogether, just one sentence like this make your research, make your article a lot more real. Oh yes, the quiz. Yeah, the quiz will be counting towards the final exam marks. Yes. Thank you for asking. And finally, you want to end a paragraph. So remember, what we are talking about here is just one paragraph. So one paragraph you got from one single idea to a topic sentence, an elaborating sentence, and then a strong example or come up with data. And then the final sentence in your paragraph should be a mini conclusion. So you can use a simple conjunction plus the topic and try to rephrase your ideas, write the same thing in other words. So you can use these conjunctions to start your mini conclusion. So for example, with that in mind, therefore, it can be concluded that one can then see that, or whatever you want. If I have to write this list, there could be like 20, 30 possibilities. So a lot of them is possible. So add a few more to that, maybe consequentially. Consequence, that means the result. So consequentially, that means as a result, is the same thing. But of course, this one looks higher in level. The quiz will be held at around 11:10. With that in mind, taking drugs only make the situation worse. Okay, so again, the topic, taking drugs. And then you summarize what's happening down here. So only make the situation worse, and students' life only get more difficult. So if you forgot what you have been doing, you come back to what your idea is. Your idea is affect daily life, right? And your topic sentence is daily life seriously affected by the drugs. So how can you end your paragraph? Is that the drugs make your daily life harder, right? So it's just like a little bit of following up from here. So affect daily life. How is your daily life? Your daily life become more difficult, and it makes the situation worse. Okay, so actually you're still saying the same thing again and again. Each time you say a little bit more. In your brain, you only have this idea, affect daily life. And then a little bit more in your topic sentence. Is seriously affected by the drugs. Unavoidably push them to a normal daily life, just a little bit more. And then you elaborate it still more than that. Okay, so in what sense of daily life? What can you see? What can you actually see the people who are affected? Okay, for example, they get very unhappy, they got depression, and then they could not go to school. So these are things you can see. And then dig out some kind of data. So 20% of teenagers are like this. They do not go to school. They are absent from school. So again, following from the last part. And then they are also addicted to drugs or alcohol. Oh no! So things like that happen all the time. And then with that in mind, we understand taking drugs only make the situation worse. And students' life only get the daily life, actually. This life, we know that it refers to the daily life, only gets more difficult. So this is what I call a perfect paragraph structure. Of course, you don't need to do it so perfectly every single paragraph, but at least one or two major paragraphs, especially the point that you are focusing on, should be like this. All right. So I'm going to put this worksheet on the Google Classroom, so later on you can refer to it, and then you can try to write two. You can try to write two paragraphs like this on your own, so that you can put it into some practice. And then if you want me to mark it for you, it's totally fine. Just send a copy to me, all right? Or just put it on the Google Classroom. I always set an assignment like this. So for writing, it's the most important for you to actually do it, to actually attempt it, to actually give it a try. Just talking does not get you anywhere. You have to try using it, because the whole thing is something that you don't do very often, you don't do it in daily life, and then there is a lot of logic inside, and some of you are not so good at logic. You have to make yourself fit inside this kind of actually it's a Western thinking structure. So take your time. All right, before the quiz begin, we quickly come back to let's see. We could quickly come back to what we have been talking about in the grammar. So it should be the cause and effects. So we learn a few things. Is that when you are looking at this kind of structure, you have to identify which part is the reason, which part is the result. So the reason why I went to the party was to see my friends. Okay, so that means the reason is I want to see my friends. So for example, the mistakes in Harry's homework were of course, the reason of his tiredness, right? The mistakes. Okay. So he make a mistake, so he feel very tired. Okay, that's the meaning. Can it be the result? I think it's also possible. Yep. But the meaning? Okay. Any problem with the YouTube side? I don't see any problem for now. Okay, that would be very different in meaning if it's the result. Okay, so if it's the result, that means he was tired. He was tired, so he made a lot of mistakes. Okay, or if it's the reason, then it becomes like he make a lot of mistakes, so he feel very tired himself. So both could be okay, depends on the meaning. So Mr. Lee's poor health. Number 2, Mr. Lee's poor health was the cause of her early retirement. So why does she need to retire? The cause, the reason is Mrs. Lee has a poor health. Okay. One thing is, what's the difference between result and what's the difference between a reason and a cause? So what is a reason? What is a cause? What's the difference? So reason versus cause. What's the difference? Let's see number 5. His poor eyesight was the reason why he failed the test. Can I use cause to replace it? His poor eyesight was the cause why he failed the test. Does it make sense? So in fact, the meaning is the same. There isn't anything special. What is different is the usage. The usage is different. Basically, it's with this word. The word reason goes with the word why. If you need to use reason, you need why. You need a relative clause. His poor eyesight was the reason why he failed the test. Or you can have his poor eyesight. Can I make it blue? Green. Okay. Oh, no good. Blue. Better. His poor eyesight was the cause he failed the tests. that makes more sense. His poor eyesight was the cause he failed the test. Okay? The test, not the that. Hey. Yep. So if you need the word reason, you need to go with why. If you use the word cause, you don't need the word why. And then we learned a number of conjunctions, like because of, due to, and owing to. We said after due to, owing to, and because of, you need a noun. You need a noun phrase. So you can't say due to she was ill. That would be wrong. You need to say due to her illness. Same for because of or on account of is the same thing. And then sometimes we can use out of for words about feelings. So expressing feelings. Out of curiosity, out of kindness, out of concern, out of pity. That means you feel something inside. In Chinese, 出於乜乜乜，出於良心，出於好奇心，出於妒忌 okay? Out of jealousy. And then usually when we write it in a more formal way, we can use the word through. So he made a mistake through carelessness. So it is a bit formal, and also sometimes when we are using formal language to talk about something that is not so formal, it means you are criticizing them. So for example, this one, you are criticizing this person. He made a mistake. Why is he making this mistake? It's because of his carelessness. It's really bad. So it implies there is a negative implication here, usually negative. No. I shouldn't say usually strong, I should say. May not be negative. It could be positive. Because when your sentence is talking about some good things, okay, then it means it's really, really good. So it's a kind of emphasis. Here, it makes it a lot more criticizing. And then because as since for, same meaning, but usually we don't use for at the start. Because as and since, you can use it at the start of a sentence. It's okay, but for, do not start a sentence. So this one. For cannot be put at the beginning of a sentence. Okay? If you read stories in English, you see that this kind of construction is used quite often. Usually they use it with a comma. Separate? How did I spell it wrong? Oh, gosh. Yep. So for example, in this example, my brother got home late last night, for he now has to work 2 separate jobs. Okay. If you use for here after the comma, there is also a stronger feeling, a stronger voice. Remember last time I said, if you want to get level 5 or above, you need a voice in your writing. So using words like this and sentence patterns like this make it has stronger voice. But remember, the word for can only be used in the middle of a sentence. And then And then the second lesson we talk about so that, and such that. And these things I think you know. So as a result, therefore, and thus, they are pretty much the same meaning. Means 所以啊，因此啊, something like that. And then we use so as a middle coordinator for two sentences. So is only used in the middle. It cannot be used at the start of a sentence. And then what complicate things would be the so that. So that. You need an adjective at the middle between so and that, and then the meaning of this is a strong degree thing, and with a very extreme result. If you remember, 好誇張嘅程度導致一個咧好極端嘅結果。That is so that. He was so happy that 開心到點啊？開心到講唔出嘢。Okay, it has to be an extreme. And then you have the such that. This one I didn't talk about. This one I didn't have time to talk about last time. But it actually is very simple. It's the same as so that. But this part, between such and that, it has to be a noun phrase. So instead of you saying it was so beautiful a day, that you say such a beautiful day. So nothing very difficult. It's the same thing. So if you understand what so that is, you also understand what is such that. And then this one you learn it in primary school and also in Form 1-2. Nothing very difficult. The book is too difficult for me to read. Just too difficult. It's not enough. It's not easy enough to read. Yep, done. So we have done our revision. So I'm giving you like maybe about 5 minutes. You can have a quick look at this notes. If you forgot where the note is, you can actually look for it in the Google Classroom. In our Google Classroom, actually. Under classwork, under grammar, so you could see the cause and effects part 2, so you can review the worksheets here before we start the quiz at around 11:10. It's not working again. It's correct. Why isn't it showing anything? Oh, it's the classroom. Oh, I see. All right. Yep. If you want to review the notes, you can go back to Google Classroom, to our classroom here. Yep. And of course, feel free to ask questions. Okay, I think it's about time. Now you can switch to the Google Classroom, which has all the people inside, so the all English group. And then it's the first one. So you open it, you should see the Model 3 reading and grammar quiz. So you can click on it and then start working on it. So you are expected to finish it in about 20 minutes.